It's enchilada night, and I am making my enchiladas tonight with fresh homemade tortillas. I made these for taco night last week, and many of you asked for my tortilla recipe. Admittedly, I have only in the last few months started making homemade tortillas, but I have kind of tweaked different recipes, and this is the recipe that I think is the easiest and the most delicious. And let me just tell you that once you do a homemade tortilla, you ain't gonna eat anything else. So my kitchen's kind of a mess right now, is what it is. So I figured I would show you my recipe. Number one, you need 2 cups of all-purpose flour, okay? In another life, I would have a cooking show. So this is the closest that I'm gonna get. And 3 tablespoons of oil. Sometimes you might need to add a little bit more, but I always start with 3 tablespoons. I like Chosen Foods avocado oil. Many people have different recipes. This is just the recipe that I like. We're gonna do half a teaspoon of salt, all right? Then, last but not least, we're gonna do 3/4 of a cup of hot water. The hot water is key. All right. You're in hot water, baby. All right. Got our 3/4 of a cup of hot water. We're gonna mix this bad boy up. Taking a spurtle. My husband got me a spurtle for Christmas because we watch a lot of college sports on the ACC network, and the ACC network is essentially just a bunch of infomercials in between the games, including one for the spurtle, all right? So then I'm just mixing the dough up until it's all, you know, doughy. Now, if for some reason you are offended by this recipe, I don't know why you would be, but people get offended over a lot of different things these days. You're just gonna take that dough out. Sometimes I'll add a little bit of flour to my hands just so it doesn't get all sticky. Always have extra flour on standby. You're for sure gonna need it. What we're gonna do, we're gonna let this sit for about, let's say, 5 to 10 minutes. And meat is cooking. My dough has set for a little bit. Now it's party time. So what I do usually is I take the ball and then I just divide it in half, okay? Then I divide this in half, then divide that in half. In the end, you know, math is hard. 8 balls. Into dough balls. Just kind of put them to the side until you're ready to roll them out. So then when you're ready to roll them out, you're gonna take a little bit of flour, spread it on your surface, rolling pin, and roll them out. This part is where it can get tricky. Remember, these are homemade tortillas. Doesn't need to be perfect. Meanwhile, I've got my pan heating because you want it hot by the time you're ready to put your tortillas on there. I sprayed a little bit of avocado oil cooking spray on there. It's looking good, okay? This one looks like Pac-Man. They're not all gonna be perfect, and that's okay. You just put it on there and let it cook. When to flip it. The key is let it cook until you see it start to bubble. You'll see the little air bubbles, then flip it. All right, So we're starting to get a little bit of air bubbles. And I don't know, can you see? It's kind of bubbling up a little bit. We don't want to burn them. We're just gonna take our spatula, flip it over. Do the same thing. Let it cook on the other side until you start to see the bubbles. It's gonna be much quicker on the other side. Let it bubble up a little bit. And usually sometimes I will flip it again until it's just a little bit brown. So I don't like mine crispy. Some people might like their tortillas a little crispy. I don't. Now, one thing to note is it goes faster for some reason as they cook. So usually sometimes while I've got one cooking, I'm rolling, but the pan is getting hotter, and so they tend to cook faster down the road. And so I will just roll mine all out while I've got one cooking. It's not a perfect science. And then you can use them for tacos, enchiladas like I'm doing. Boom, that's looking good right there. Need to WD-40 this thing. Turn my heat up. Then I just place them in a tortilla warmer, or you can place them on a plate with a towel. I like a tortilla warmer. It'll keep them nice and warm until you're ready to use them. And then on to the next one. That's how you make homemade tortillas. Let me know if you decide to try them yourself. Ooh, and sometimes you get a tortilla that looks like a heart. Because I love enchiladas. I have a heart for the tacos. Then assemble those enchiladas. Glory!